Get your special sock out, nerds. It's gonna get good.
Oh boy, my special sock's already been out. It is extra crunchy. Hey, hope you guys are having a great day. If you don't know what that means, I'm not going to explain it to you. Go ask, go ask somebody at the grocery store. Hey, I have a question for you. Yeah, what are you looking for? Something in produce, meat department? No. What does it mean to have a crunchy sock? Oh, shoot. Hope you guys are having a great day. Got a lot to get to. Cannot freaking wait. So much. Some might say it's bursting at the seams. But real quick, before we jump into it, hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening. Don't forget, today's show is presented to you by High Society Cannabis Dispo and Lounge. And of course, Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. And right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the UFC, baseball, to Formula One racing. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. And when the games are over, head on over to their online casino to get in on the game of blackjack or poker, or even unwind with one of their over 150 slot games. Ha, slots. I love them. Head to betonline.ag right now to get in on the action. Don't forget to use that promo code BLEAV. That's BLEAV. And you're going to get that 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. It's Bet Online. The game starts here. I'm in a great freaking mood. I got some fantastic headlines that we're going to dive into. Got some great listener interaction. And you know what? The kids are off to school. Fuck yeah. Holy shit. So cute. So cute. I got to say this real quick. I love my kids to pieces. The fact that they still hug us goodbye on the first day of school, I can't ask for more. So lucky that they still do that. Because some kids, no, they don't do it. But I'm excited. I know they're obviously the first day of school, not a fun time if you're a kid. Because you're like, geez, I was sleeping in, getting up whenever I essentially wanted to, didn't have too much structure. And now it's like, bang, back into school. So, you know what, though? For me, I'm excited. It allows me to focus on other things. And they actually get educated because when they're with me, not so much. Not so much. They actually get dumber if they're around me more. So the fact that they're around smart people at school, it's good for them. Good for them. Good for the whole world. Here we go. Let's jump into it. Let's get into those headlines.
Let's go! Let's go!
And now, here are the headlines.
Speaking of getting dumber, we are all doomed because this person has major influence on social media. And we all know that rules the roost, okay? Brazilian model Débora Peixoto. I messed that up so bad, I apologize. But she has like over 650,000 followers just on Instagram. And she's a model, so most of those are guys. Guys are just cranking it to it. I'm sorry, ladies, that's just the truth. It's just the truth. It's not a bunch. Usually, if you were to break it down, which I'm sure that you can, because I can do that on mine. It'll tell you how many of your followers are male, how many are female, and then it'll break it down to age bracket. I'm guessing she's like 90% guys from the age 30 to like 65 plus. That's what it is. Anyway, she's an influencer. She's also a model. And she's making headlines because of her skincare routine where this lady, this Brazilian model who has a lot of influence, is using her own feces as skincare. Yeah, that's what she's doing. So freaking disgusting. Now, according to Dr. Sophie Moman, who's a consultant dermatologist at the Cadiagen clinic in London, nailed that one. She said, of all skincare trends, this is one of the strangest I have ever come across. There is absolutely no scientific benefit to your skin in using feces as a face mask. The fact that she had to say that is so bizarre, but it's so on point when you come to what year we're in right now, 2024. Yeah, people are smearing shit on their faces. Yeah, okay. Classic 2024. My goodness.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah, I would throw up. Imagine being that person's significant other and they get a wild hair up their butt to smear shit on their face. This is the same lady that was using menstrual blood as a facial mask. And then she goes on, so she separates herself from that and she's like, I have an idea. Forget menstrual blood. I'm going to smear my own shit on my face. So disgust. The problem is somebody's going to try it. I guarantee you that there is probably at least maybe 10 people that have tried this. I don't know if they're guys or if they're young kids or whatever. But who thinks that that's a good idea? Do you know what feces is? Come on. Jesus Christ, people. Get your heads out of your butt. Now, the first thing because she's a model, and I was thinking, because she uses her own shit, I was like thinking, imagine like if you were her neighbor and all of a sudden you get a knock on the door and she's there and she's like, hi, I was wondering if I could borrow something for you. I got a big photo shoot and I'm constipated. And you're like, okay, this is weird that she's telling me she's constipated. She's like, anyway, I use that as a facial mask. Can I borrow some of your poo? I would have loved to have been in the room in a way, I guess, when she came up with that idea. Like, aha, I have an idea. I need to have, not so dry skin. I need to, work on my wrinkles and stuff. I have an idea. I'm going to smear poo on my face. That's when you need friends that step in and go, hey, Deborah, no, no, not a good idea to smear your feces on your face. My God. She smells like shit, right? Could you imagine you work with somebody that smears poop on their face? Guarantee you they smell like shit. Or imagine they do it and then they don't take a shower afterwards. This person, she's probably going to get pink eye a lot. If you have a coworker that gets pink eye a lot and they don't have young kids, because if you have young kids, I guess there's some justification. You're changing diapers, you're half asleep. Maybe you accidentally rub some a little bit of poo in your eye or something. I'm not saying I did that ever. Huh? Yeah, like 3 times. But imagine that, like you're gonna get pink eye. Eventually, you're gonna get pink eye. That stuff's gonna drop down into your eye area. And then, like, if you're somebody, that better be a nighttime routine, and you got to wash that off before you go to bed. Eventually, your face is gonna smell like shit if you don't scrub it well. And if you're scrubbing it well to get the shit off, are you really doing your skin a favor by smearing shit on it because you're going to use all this stuff to get the poop off? I don't feel comfortable talking about this anymore. Holy crap. Literally. Holy crap. My God. Imagine dating her and she's like, I just got to go fix myself up and we'll be ready to go night. Then who knows what's going to happen. Then you accidentally walk in on the bathroom because you're thinking, maybe not accidentally, you're just like, let's get some freak on. Let's do it in the bathroom. Then you go in there and she's like shitting into her hand and rubbing it on her face. And you're just like,
What the fuck?
you know what? I think we need to break up. We're not taking a break. We're breaking up. Okay. You gone, get out of my house. My goodness. Ugh. Hey, speaking of shit, Tesla is halting the orders of their Cybertruck that's worth that starts off right around $61,000. Yes, I called it shit. So now the cheapest version of the Cybertruck that you can get is for $100,000. Now, I think in a sense this is brilliant because so many people, seems like there's a good amount of people out there that bought that cheaper version, the $61,000 version of the Cybertruck. They bought so many of them out there. So they're very common now. I want to say last week I saw about 3 different ones. It's kind of like when Tesla first came out with their regular cars, right? We used to play a game with the kids in the car, the Tesla game. You see a Tesla, you get a point when we're driving around. If you see a Tesla with a front plate on it, because most of them don't have front plate license plates, then you get like, say, 2 points or something like that. Now those are so commonplace. You see them everywhere. Now we throw in if you see a Cybertruck, you get a certain amount of points. I can't remember what the kids decided. But anyway, the point is now it's getting to the point where, yeah, you're probably going to see one every other day. I saw one the other day that was wrapped in like a red wrap, and it had a QR code on the back. We didn't have time to scan it just to see what it was, but they're very commonplace now. So the advertising, they obviously stand out, and that's advertising for them. Now they're just like, okay, yeah, all these people got them. Now, if you want to join the moronic bandwagon, it's going to cost you $100,000. So it makes sense. That being said, I still think it's a horrible investment. Still wait a few more years because there's so many freaking recalls on the Cybertruck. And let's be honest, I would think that I'm in the majority on this when I say this. Those Cybertrucks are ugly as sin. I don't get the appeal of it. I've never sat in one. I've never drove one. Maybe that's the selling point. But it just looks goofy as hell. Now, fast forward 5 years, maybe my opinion changes. But as of right now, I do not get it. I don't get it. And like I've said before, when you see somebody driving around in a Cybertruck, you can't help but go, you fucking moron? Ha! Ha! Gee. It's always a dude with a receding hairline like me, who's just been beaten down by life, and he's just like, I know what will make me feel better. Buy this Cybertruck that looks like a little kid drew it. That's what you need to get your Cybertruck wrapped as. Either make it look like it's made out of Lego, which would be kind of cool, or just paint it like where it looks like a kid drew it with like crayon. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Hey, heading over to Australia. This is bizarre. An Australian sex ed group mistakenly handed out ultrasound probe covers thinking that they were condoms. For 6 months, they did that. 6 freaking months. Now, I'm guessing. I'm purely making a judgment call on this one. It's a sex ed group. Most likely, they're individuals that aren't very well experienced. So they're like, I don't know, it goes over the wiener, right? Sure, it looks like it. And then they're handing them out to people. Now, here's the problem. They did it for 6 fucking months. There's a good chance, though, that the majority of those people looked at the package and said, oh, what the hell? Because it says probe cover. Now, that being said, are they some kid who's just like, I want to have sex with a woman, and then he sees it, or a dude, whatever, and then he sees it and he's like, oh, they call your penis a probe. Oh, so fancy. You know? And then whoever you're banging doesn't bother to look at the package. So they're the victim. The person that handed it out and the person that put it on are the ones at fault. My God, for 6 fucking months. Now, if Australia, especially wherever this is, has a baby boom in, I guess it would be in 3 to 9 months from now. If they have a baby boom, we kind of know why. I would be furious if that happened. Now, that being said, ultimately, though, don't you think that relies on, well, no, because you're trusting what they gave you is a condom. You're going to a sex ed group and they're like, here, if you're going to have sex, use these, even though it says probe on it. And you're just thinking that's just fancy word for dick. I see there's more liability on the sex ed group, but geez, come on. Whoever you handed it out to had to have had a red flag pop up and go, oh, it says it's for a probe cover. So I'd be so pissed. Imagine being the person that got pregnant or got an STD. Do they say STD anymore or is it STI? We don't want to, insult the diseases. We just want to, we don't want to insult the infections, by calling them diseases. That's what it is. Oh, man, imagine getting that. Be like, are you fucking serious? It says it's a probe. I thought that was just fancy talk for your wiener. You are a moron.
Right, as always.
He is. Hey, more from Australia. This is classic Australia. This is not, I guess it could be, but I guess there's more justification if you heard this coming over the scanners, over the radio for emergency responders. If you heard this in Australia, it makes a lot more sense. In the United States, not so much.
Set the car on fire to try and kill a spider. Unknown further details, over.
She starts to laugh. By the way, did you notice that? Near the end, she starts to laugh.
Set the car on fire to try and kill a spider. Unknown further details, over.
Now, that being said, spiders in Australia are more likely to kill you than they are here in the United States. Not to say that there aren't deadly spiders here in the U.S., but shit, man. You're more likely to run into them out there, whether it's spiders or snakes. And I'm sure there's other shit that's, really dangerous out there. It makes more sense. But that being said, is it worth setting your car on fire or just trying to burn it? I mean, could you imagine the guy's like getting ready to go to work, sitting in his car, smoking a cigarette, taking breaks to put Aquanet in his hair? Because who doesn't do that, right? And then all of a sudden he sees a spider and he's like, oh, bloody shit. Oh, my God. Look at the size of that fucker. And then he takes his cigarette and his Aquanet and he just starts going, really, trying to blowtorch that motherfucker. And then next thing you know, he sets his car on fire. My goodness. Not worth it. But I kind of get it. I hate that. I've had a spider drop on me while driving like once or twice. Scares the shit out of me. And it's ridiculous because it ends up, like I was saying, unless it's a black widow or a brown recluse, that's how you say it, right? A spider in the U.S., you're pretty much good. But I had one that was like, translucent, whatever looking. It was kind of yellowish, like a booger, essentially just dropped down. It's when I used to work at the radio station, and it probably was on my arm or something because there's tons of those at the radio station. So fucking gross. And that one just like all of a sudden dropped down when I'm on I-25 headed home. Scared the fuck out of me. Thankfully, nobody was next to me because I did swerve, which is dumb. What a dumb way to get in a car accident. Why'd you swerve and just run into somebody? There was a spider. Oh, Yeah, that doesn't count. That doesn't count, buddy. So now, if there was a snake in the car, yeah, yeah, burn that fucker. Burn it. Don't care. Ugh, snakes. Did you did we talk about this? I sent a text to Chad Brown, but he didn't respond because he was probably thinking I was trying to get money from him. Because I said you should do a video about how all these wildfires in Colorado are kind of there's so many rattlesnake dens up there that it's just an added thing for firefighters to have to deal with. Plus, it's displacing a lot of those snakes, and in the surrounding areas, that's just even if you're not dealing with the fire itself, you may end up dealing with rattlesnakes. And I said you should do a video on rattlesnake safety. And then I think where I screwed myself over on helping him out I was like, you could just send me the video and I can add your company logo to it. I should have said for free. I'll do it for free. I meant to say that, but then it was just I thought about it way too late. But yeah, basically don't fucking touch it. Don't touch it. If you go on a hike, get a long stick and don't use it to actually put weight on to walk. You should have it out like you're a blind person with a cane. And that way, if uh, startle a snake, you got some distance on it. A guy told me that the other day at the garage sale. And I was just like, that makes so much fucking sense. He's like, you white people don't know how to use a stick properly on your hikes. And I'm like, it's fair. It's fair. Makes sense. Ah, man. Speaking of setting things on fire, you got to go over to High Society Cannabis Dispo and Lounge and fire some shit up. Because you can buy cannabis there. You can consume it on site. Because it's the only licensed canna bar in the state of Colorado. It works like an alcohol bar, but it's for cannabis. And you can purchase up to an ounce of flower or 8 grams of concentrate. Like I said, you buy it there and consume what you want and then take the rest home. High Society has something for everyone. Like I was saying, that you got flour, you got pre-rolls, you got concentrates, you got edibles. And they provide everything you need to consume it with, which is really nice. Whether you want to roll it, whether you want to pack it in a bong, you're good to go. High Society has 7 big screen TVs, so you can catch your favorite sporting events. We got football going on. Oh my God, what a great place to just go hang out on like Saturdays and just watch college football or even just NFL on Sundays. Jeez, what a great place to just go hang. They even got Nintendo Switches available to rent, tons of free board games. They got so many cool things to do there, and it's so relaxing. They got a quarter arcade, pinball machines, vintage Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and a few more. It's really cool. You got to swing by. They're open daily from noon to 10. Happy hour runs from noon to 4:20 Monday through Friday. There's some big things on the horizon for them too, and I can't wait to spill the beans on that. By the way, Thursdays is Industry Day. Anyone with an MED employee badge gets 15% off all day. Tuesdays is Ladies' Day. Hey! And ladies get 20% off all day. It's High Society Cannabis Dispo and Lounge. It's just 9 minutes from Coors Field. It's open noon to 10. You got to be at least 21 or older to consume, and you can't bring in outside product, but you can buy it there. High Society is at 7667 Washington Street. Just GPS to High Society. I might go there later today or tomorrow. So if you go to High Society, look for me. I'll be the weird guy in the corner drinking a Coke at the bar. That's usually what I like to do, and just watch and talk to people. It's a lot of fun over there. Things that aren't fun is when people cheat to try to get ahead. I'm making sure I get that across to my kids. When you cheat, you're cheating yourself, okay? And, really just kind of getting that out of their minds as an option. Because so many people do that in sports, in just, education. It's like, what's the point? I know somebody that has obtained at-home degrees, and most of those degrees were accomplished by her daughter, who's really smart. And she just, so, which is kind of fucked up. Her daughter unofficially has all these degrees, but they're under her mom's name. It's like, why would you do that to your daughter? And why would you do that to yourself? So fucking bizarre. So annoying. But anyway, if that makes sense. A Russian chess player is accused of poisoning her opponent with mercury. She smeared it all over the board. But what's crazy is it was caught on camera, clear as day. And what happened is when the players came in, sat down, they immediately noticed that it was smeared with some sort of substance. And immediately, shortly after, I should say, when the judges came over, they realized it was mercury. And they quickly contained all the pieces and the chessboard and called the police. Went to go check the cameras, and it's like right on that board, and you can see the lady clear as day smearing the shit all over the board and the chess pieces. And the police asked her, like, why did you do this? Because it was to a lady that she had competed against. She's known her since childhood, and this lady had lost to the person that she was trying to poison. It came down to a draw or a tie, and for some reason the other lady ended up winning. So she was mad about that. Plus, she said that at some point she offended her. So she's like, I have an idea. I'm gonna fucking poison her. What the fuck? Now, mercury poisoning. I hope I'm right when I say this because I Googled it and this is what popped up. One, you can if it's the aerosol version of it, it can burn your lungs and cause serious long-term damage. Organic mercury can damage your central nervous system, so like your brain and spinal cord, and large amounts of mercury or long-term exposure can lead to death if not treated. What a fucking bitch! It's chess! My God. She insulted me. I'm going to kill her. What the fuck? What is wrong with people?
What the fuck?
My goodness. Fucking lose with dignity. That's the other thing I'm trying to teach my kids is we've said this a million times. You got to know how to lose in order to know how to succeed, okay? If you know how to lose, you know how to win. I would rather and I see that my son's about to start up fall ball for baseball. I can't wait. I'm excited. He's excited. He's been playing catch. Like literally when his season ended, that day we came home and he's like, Dad, do you want to go outside and play catch? And I'm like, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Which, by the way, as a father, that is one of the coolest things. I love it because I didn't have that growing up. I had my brother. My brother and I used to play catch all the time, whether it was football or baseball. So I learned all the sporting basics from my brother, who's 15 months older than me. So I don't need to go down that emotional path. So thankfully he was there to teach me how to do stuff. But the fact that my son asked to play catch and like his season ended and he's like, let's go play catch. I'm like, dude, you're fresh off the loss of the tournament. And he's like, yeah, let's go play catch. And he wants to get better. Now we do I know I'm talking about all this stuff too, but what's funny is our neighbor actually came up with this because he has 3 kids and they all played baseball or softball and they're all fucking amazing at sports. So he's kind of like an unofficial coach / baseball guru for us. He's like, every time you throw a bad throw, you got to do push-ups. And now we're being nice to my son. I was like, you throw a bad throw, you got to do 3 push-ups. It's not that much. But if you neglect to not do those 3 push-ups, the next time you do a bad throw, you got to do 6, and there's no backing out on that. So you might as well do it. Which is funny because I remember when I was a kid, but just different day and age. I remember, and guys, I'm not trying to brag when I say this, because I clearly did jack squat when it came to high school athletics, and I didn't do anything, not even a sniff of college or pro. But when I was in grade school, I mean, it was just a different environment. We did those presidential fitness challenges all the fucking time, and you wanted to see how good you could do it. And I remember my gym teacher at the time, Miss Prince, and I remember she would do, like, let's say we were doing 10 push-ups or 20 push-ups, whatever it was, as a class. Everybody would do them. Even the kids that were quote unquote heavy set were doing them. Now, maybe they didn't do the full 20, but they were still out there trying their ass off. But I remember I was so lean, it was just easy for me. And she would be counting to, let's say, 10, and I'd go beyond that. And I remember there was at least one time where she called me out in a positive way. And she's like, look at Scott over here. He's just going. He's just doing them. If you can do that, do that. It's okay. And, always trying to do more and more push-ups. Like, I can still, even though I have a jacked up shoulder, I can stop and do, without problem, 25. Now, going beyond that, that's a little iffy. But I see some kids, like, I'm talking to gym teachers, and they're like, yeah, we're lucky if we get a kid in here that can do 10. Like, oh, whoa, shit. And then doing sit-ups. And I remember climbing the rope in gym class and I used to always have to pee afterwards. It was like, oh shit. But you think about that, and there's this like little tiny mat at the bottom. So if you fell, it's still gonna hurt. Maybe not as bad if there wasn't a mat, but that's different brackets of reality. Kids back then, there wasn't really, the pussification of society is really showing its head. And I mean that, I guess there's sometimes it's okay to not push kids, especially, to go, further and harder. Okay. You're like, oh, you got to do this. You got to do blah, 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 blah. Sometimes that's fine. But, sometimes you need to. Sometimes you need that push. I remember as simple as like field day at school. I can still remember thinking that I could throw really far. It was like the softball throw. And I remember throwing. I'm like, yeah, that was good. And then this guy that I went to school with, Andrew Wheeler, pops up and he just chucks one. And I'm like, fuck, I need to get better at throwing. I wasn't like, oh, my life is terrible. Oh, everybody feels sorry for me. No, it was like, fuck, I need to get better. I remember running in races, and if I came in second or third, or even if it was worse than that, which I don't think it ever happened, I'd be upset with myself and push myself harder to achieve first place. That's a good thing. You need that. Enough of this, like, guys, a participation trophy. You see that a lot. Now, I'll say this. My son and daughter, they didn't finish as champions in my daughter's soccer, my son in baseball. They get a little thing at the end. Well, at least for soccer they did, which is essentially a participation trophy. And I'm not sitting there like bashing into my kid's head like, you're either first or last. I'm not doing that. But I was very proud when my daughter's just like, yeah, it would have been nicer though if we got a trophy. Maybe next year. It's good mentality. Good mentality. And then to ride home and beyond, she's just like, I think what needs to happen is, we need to focus more on this, 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 and this. And she's thinking about how to get better. My son, disappointed that he didn't continue on in the baseball tournament. Said it would be nice to lift up a trophy. Okay. Maybe that's why he's been playing catch with me almost every single day this summer, which is awesome because he wants to get better and he enjoys it. I ask him, do you want to play catch? No. Okay. Do you want to play catch today or whatever? Sure. If he wants to play catch, we play catch. He'll ask me most of the time. He asks me. But they failed, and now they get the glimpse of what it could be like to continue on to win it all. And that's good. You have to have failure. And going back to people that cheat and people that just try to cut corners, I would rather have people that have failed and know how to claw back and they have that desire to win. You got people that never lose, they're going to have a tough time in life when they go out there and they suck at their job. One of the most humbling moments of my broadcasting career was I got promoted to producer and things changed and management was requiring I do something that I didn't believe in, that my hosts didn't believe in. And it was just like, you got to book like every single fucking day. This is ridiculous. They wanted me to book at least, it was like 4 guests every single day, if not more. And I just couldn't do it. I was just, it was going against what I believed, but it was also really fucking difficult to get people of relevance to come onto the show. And sometimes you can't keep dipping back into the same well because let's say you're an insider and I want you to come on my show. Well, you might come on the first time, no problem. But once it starts being a repetitive thing on a frequent basis, eventually you're going to go, well, how much are you going to pay me to keep doing this, dude? And that's what ends up happening is you end up losing and burning bridges with people because you just want to keep going back to them because there's only so many people you can get on that are relevant. And I remember going to my wife and I was just like, I am fucking struggling with this. This is not, I'm not good at my job. And, she probably told me to put on my big boy pants. I went and talked to my boss and told him the same thing. I was like, I'm struggling. I am not doing good. And then whatever, we implemented a plan and thankfully things ended up changing shortly where it went down a better path of let's not focus on guests. Let's focus on the actual talent that people are tuning in to hear. And that was a great thing when I started working with Mark Schlereth, because I was working with Mike Evans and he kind of had a miscellaneous co-hosts throughout the years. And then finally, when he got paired up with Mark Schlereth, it was just like, no, we don't need guests. People are tuning in to hear Mark and they're tuning in to hear Mike, which was one of those things that Mike Evans and I had talked about for years. We're like, people are tuning in not to hear the guests the majority of the time. It's not to hear the guests. You're tuning in to hear the talent. And sometimes you're wasting the listener's time when you have Joe Beat Reporter. Sorry, guys. When you have Joe Beat Reporter that nobody really gives a rat's ass about to come on and say the same shit that you've been talking about. I mean, I don't, it's not all those guys, but there's a good chunk. We're like, why the fuck you have this guy on? You're just getting him on to get him on. You don't need that. Unless it's a big fucking name or somebody that has some great insight, some behind the scenes shit. If you don't have somebody like that on your show, why the fuck are you getting people on? If they're not entertaining them, if they're not educating the listeners, why get them on? Now, that being said, whenever I pop on another show, whether it's radio or podcast, I try to bring an more entertainment level than if it was any other podcaster. So I try to, just quickly become friends with the hosts. They're the guys on the Knee Circle podcast do a fantastic job. They're hilarious. They're way over the line. I suggest you check them out. They're funny. So I have to try to match that. And I try to bring high energy and just, guys, we're best friends. And I try to make it worth for them to get me on. I don't want to waste their time. So when I pop on with them, I try to amp it up. You say a dick joke, I'll say two. Okay? That's how I roll, motherfucker. So anyway, I kind of veered off when it comes to that stuff, but those are things that you need to think about. Of don't cheat, because when you cheat, you're cheating yourself. And then just like, I don't know. I veered off a lot, but hi, how are you? Anyway, you know what we need to do? Let's jump into the mailbag.
Mailbag. You've got mail.
This comes in from Matt. He said, so they're done, eh? Talking about the Olympics. We got the Turkish shooting guy, which was cool. That guy, if you don't remember that guy, he didn't even have all the gear. He's just like, I just rolled out of bed, picked up my piece, and then just went out and won a silver medal. You got the Australian breakdance gal who got a 0, by the way. Holy shit. No one got hurt. USA basketball did what it was supposed to do. Serbia, Nikola gave them a run for their money. Ledecky is really good. And Simone Biles is too. Cool. Paris did a good job. I like to think of myself as a worldly type of person. Intellectual, cultured even. Paris looks like a cool place to visit. Baguette. And then he does some French stuff that I don't know what it is. He's all, I am eating my baguette of bread. And here we go. Anyway, he said, dearest regards, La Dahoff. You forgot about Matt. First of all, great job putting all that together. But you did forget Blue Scrotum guy, Bob the Cap Catcher, and the balls or no balls controversy, which is still rolling on. Because like one of her coaches, the Algerian boxer who ended up winning gold, her coach didn't help any. He's like, she was born a female, but maybe those test results did say this. And you're like, oh, dude, you're kind of fucking everything up. So that's not going to go away anytime soon, that whole stuff. And we don't need to dive down that rabbit hole. But I think you're right, Matt. I think the French did an overall good job. Another thing you forgot about is that poopy swim water where people were getting sick. By the way, for some reason, I was just like thinking, the next Summer Olympics is in LA. And I'm like, could you imagine the French coming over here trying to blend in? And it's going to be like,
I would like to buy a hamburger. I would like to buy a hamburger.
That's from the Pink Panther. If you've never seen it with Steve Martin, hilarious. That's like a 1.5-minute scene. Fucking hilarious. Hamburger. And it's him trying to say hamburger. I would like a hamburger. And he's trying to blend in because he was going to go to New York. Oh my God. Fucking hilarious. I haven't seen that movie in forever. I'm wondering if it'd still be funny if I saw it. Because sometimes you see an old school movie like that. You grew up watching it. Then you go back like 30 years later and you're like, this is not that funny. It's really fucking slow. Anyway. By the way, organizers from the next Summer Olympics in LA, which is going to be 2028, had the ability to propose new sports they wanted to include in the games. So they're going with flag football, men's and women's. I think that's going to be awesome. USA should take that, right? it's going to be a big fucking disappointment if we lose at our own sport. Also, they're adding cricket. USA's fucked on that one. Lacrosse and squash. Guess what's most likely not going to get there? And I believe they officially said that. Breakdancing is not going to make it. The big thing that came out over the weekend was because breakdancing started, I want to say on Thursday or Friday of last week. And the Australian woman that was out there breakdancing, she got a fucking 0. It was like I was out there going, I'm just going to move my arms and my body and I'm going to gyrate on the ground. It was fucking awful. That being said, there were some people that just fucking crushed it and it was fucking cool. But it's overshadowed by hers. Now, everybody in Australia, we've talked about Australia a lot today. Everybody in Australia seems to be defending this woman. And I don't think she needs to be completely ridiculed, but it also makes it, when you watch her performance, which NBC is trying to scrub everywhere. I put it on TikTok, and TikTok usually never takes down stuff like that. They removed it. They booted it off my feed. So it's hard to find. I have it saved on my phone. Next time I see you, I'll play it for you. But she was so bad that I think that you can't help but go, what are we doing here? But it also made it look like they're just like, hey, guys, we got to send people over to Paris here in like, I don't know, like a few days. Anybody know how to break dance? And she's probably fucking hammering one back at the bar. And she's like, I can fucking move. I got it. This girl got moves. And then they're like, fine, fuck it. Let's go to Paris. And then she goes over there and she looks like Elaine from Seinfeld, just like doing weird movements and then gyrating on the ground. It's bizarre when you watch the whole thing. And it doesn't look like she knows what she's doing. But that being said, it's not like I go to a lot of breakdancing events, secret underground breakdancing, dance off, stuff like that. No, I don't do it. By the way, Jefferson wrote in, the overall breakdancing is sweet, but that chick and another one were pretty bad. You're right, dude, Jefferson. It's a black eye to the sport. Now, if breaking is what they just called it, if that's a one and done thing, it's kind of cool for the people that won those medals, gold, silver, and bronze, because nobody else is going to do it. It also seemed like the whole breaking thing is just like, that was popular in the 80s. If they did this in the 90s, early 90s, I think it would have made more sense. But now, I mean, dude, it's 2024. Why the fuck was breakdancing in the Olympics? Way past its prime. And I know there's probably some places where it's pretty popular. But I think overall, they missed the boat on that one. And think about all those people that were really good about it, breakdancing back in the 80s and shit. They're like, dude, I'd be fucking winning a gold medal. That sucks. By the way, did you see Tom Cruise closing out the Olympic ceremonies? I was so fucking disappointed in that. And we saw this coming, right? Because they said, oh, it's rumored that Tom Cruise is going to help close out the Olympics and, launch it into the next one, 2028 in LA. And I said last week, I was like, if it's not him flying through balls of fire and, blades flying across his face and he's dodging stuff and he's not jumping out of an airplane and fighting off bad guys, shit like that, then it's going to be a disappointment. I say this as somebody that couldn't do it, but all he did was he's at the top of the stadium and he rappels down. He's got bigger balls than I do, but come on, really? Ooh, Tom Cruise. He probably got paid a butt ton to do that too. And it's him rappelling down. And I'm like, what is that? What is that? I wanted more from Tom Cruise. Disappointing, man. Could you imagine he's just like all of a sudden he jumps and then he has like these guys come after him with like butcher knives or something like that. And he like punching them, kicking them in the throat. And then all of a sudden like ball of flame just, you know, goes around him. He lands to the ground. He has to stop, drop, and roll real quick. And then he does a leg sweep to knock down the next set of bad guys. And then he, throat rips a guy. And then he just runs. And then he jumps over a cliff. And then hops onto a motorcycle. And then takes off for the airport. That would have been better. That would have been better. Instead, it was just like, hi, I'm going to rappel down. Something that people do a lot of, like especially in the military. No big deal to them. I felt like that it was just, it's like going to an orgy with a 2-inch dick. What the hell? People are like, oh, new folk. Oh, yeah, maybe one. Why don't you go ahead and leave? Well, you're welcome. You can use that at the watering hole at the coffee machine today. Be like, oh, so disappointed. It's like showing up to an orgy, but you have a 2-inch dick. Am I right? This coffee is good. Good times. Anyway, thanks for supporting the show. Really appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it. Also, if you can, please give it a nice review or at least give it a nice rating. Thanks to High Society Cannabis Dispo and Lounge. I think I'm going to go over there later today, if not later this week. So if I see you there, say hi. Big thanks to Bet Online. Go to betonline.ag. It's DeHuff Uncensored. You guys are amazing. Have a fantastic day. Don't forget to bring up my little thing at the water cooler today. How'd you get fired? Well, I blame DeHuff. I blame DeHuff. You guys are fantastic. Have a great day. Hopefully you smiled a little bit in this episode. Let's continue to move forward. I'll talk to you.